Hello, my friends. I am super excited. I have been hired to do a 4 pet portrait commission for a client's nursery. And today I want to take you along on my process of how I prepare for a painting. So we're gonna start with this guy. This is Goose. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there we go. And his human said that his ear is always like that. I love it. So I am going to show you start to finish how I prepare for a painting, because sometimes the preparation is almost as important or more important than the painting itself. So good preparation leads to good results most of the time. So yeah, hang out, grab a cuppa, and I'll tell you what I do. I am so loving these fall days with the rain falling on the tin roof. I often get up at 5 a.m. and get ready for my day, and today was no exception. So I like to set the mood. Painting for me is very, almost like a spiritual thing for me, and so I like to prepare my studio, get things set up, light a candle, turn on some music, and really get in the mood for painting. So the first thing that I do is refresh my water. I will get a notebook, light a candle, like I said, and just kind of get in that headspace. Mainly when I'm doing a commission, it's really important to me to choose my brushes ahead of time. And today I decided to choose my Polina bright brushes. They have not been used in a while, so I figured it was time to pull them out, dust them off, and give them a go. And then here's a little notebook that I made with my Fabriano Artistico soft press paper, and I'm going to use that to plan ahead. It's really important to me to plan ahead, to choose the colors ahead of time before I ever put paint to paper. I've got my image here and I pull it into Procreate. Just get ready to make my palette. So this is totally not necessary. This is optional, but I like to make a palette in Procreate. Do I always do this? No. But on this one, I decided to make a little palette. So over here in the palette section, you create new palette, and then I will add the colors using the eyedropper. I like to name it so that I can look back on it and remember what colors that I chose. So I'm going to try to stick with around 5 colors for this pet portrait. And Goose's owner said that he actually looks more gray sometimes, and so keeping that in mind, I'm going to go with more of a gray color. And while I do have my pet portrait palette that I like to use, I like to play around with different Daniel Smith colors from time to time. And so on this one, I decided to get out my swatches made from the dot cards. I just cut them into strips of 12 and put them on a ring, and I like to compare them to my reference photo. So I'm looking at Sepia, however you say it. Everyone says it differently. And then I'm also thinking of playing around with a new color today. Venture away from my normal palette. And here I've got my Daniel Smith watercolors in these little jewelry storage boxes from Hobby Lobby. I'll have to make a video about those another time. But it's just nice that I have 18 of these little containers and they're filled with all the Daniel Smith line. So when I want to try a new color, it's right there, easy to get to. So the first thing I do, I write the name of the commission. I usually write the name of the dog, actually, not the owner. And then I will write the date and any other pertinent information. And the reason that I keep this record is because it's so important to me when I'm doing a similar dog. Like, let's say I have another pit bull that I'll be doing down the road. I often forget what colors that I used, or how I made that certain fur texture, or how I made that nose look the way that it looks. And so it's really important for me to have a record to look back through so that I can maybe use the same colors if I need to. So just based on the swatches that I have, I was able to kind of pick two colors that I thought might be good mixed together, and in different variations throughout the pet portrait. So I've chosen Sepia, however you have to tell me in the comments how you say Sepia or Sepia. And then I've got Joseph Z's Warm Gray, which is one I've never used before, so I'm really excited about this one. And then I also mixed them together just to kind of see what we get. And I ended up being so happy with it. It's a perfect color for this dog. And in case anybody is wondering, I am using a fountain pen. It's a very expensive rabbit hole to fall down, but this particular one was only $20 on Amazon, and it's made of metal. It's amazing. And then I also always use my neutral tint. Always, always. Like, hands down, neutral tint is my go-to black for the eyes. Anywhere that you've got like blackest blacks on a animal, I'm going to use neutral tint. And I love having it in stick form. And I know it's a little bit redundant for me to swatch it out in my notebook since I already know I'm going to use it, but hey, what can I say? If you haven't tried the Daniel Smith sticks, seriously, you need to try them. And then here I'm playing around with different pinks for the little pink on the muzzle. And what's really cool is I ended up using Minnesota Pipestone Genuine from Daniel Smith. It is the perfect muzzle pink, tongue pink, ear pink, bloodshot eye pink. That and Potter's pink are usually my favorite go-tos, but I usually abbreviate the colors in my notebook because it's just for me. I don't know that I need to spell every single thing out, because it's just for me. I know what it means if I write Q red or MPG. And then I also needed to choose the temperature of the shadows for the white fur because this dog does have white fur on his chest. So it's always really important to look at all aspects of the reference photo and choose the colors that I'm going to need. Of course, it's not perfect. There's times where I have to go back to the drawing board halfway through the painting and like pick a different color or pick a color I didn't have. Here I tried mixing Hematite Genuine and transparent brown oxide, and guess what? I didn't love it. It ended up being a little weird. But I was looking for that beautiful chunky granulation that Hematite gives. So what I ended up doing actually is mixing Hematite with Sepia. And the cool part is that keeps my palette limited. And then here I'm just playing around with the brush. Since I haven't used these brushes in a long time, I want to see how I can get the fur on the chest texture with these brushes. That's another thing is really important to do. I hope that that was helpful for you in seeing how I plan and prepare for a session, not only like physically with the tools, but get my headspace right and really set the mood. Nobody else is going to light a candle for you. Nobody's going to turn on relaxing music for you. Nobody's going to do this for you. This is really something that you have to choose for yourself. If you don't have a lot of time to paint, I totally get it. But because painting is my job, I really take the time to prepare in advance, and I promise you, your painting sessions will go so much smoother, and you'll just feel like you're in the right headspace for it. If you have any comments or questions, please throw them down in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. And as always, thank you so much for being here. I just love you guys to pieces.